We live in an era where nearly everything is turned outward. People share what they eat, where they go, how they feel, and what they think, often in real time. Photos are posted within seconds of a moment's happening. Words are written before feelings are even processed. It has become natural to think of ourselves in terms of what is visible. And yet, there are those who remain quiet. They scroll without engaging. They observe deeply, but say very little. They leave no comments, post no pictures, share no opinions. You might know someone like this, or perhaps you are someone like this. In a digital culture where visibility equals relevance, this quiet presence feels unusual. It draws attention not through volume, but through absence. And people wonder, why? Why would someone choose to remain unseen when the world rewards being seen? Why avoid the spotlight when recognition is only a few clicks away? It is easy to assume these people are shy or reserved, but the truth is more nuanced. Silence is often a conscious decision, not a personality trait. For many, it is not about fear. It is about intention. Silence becomes a form of power, a way of keeping something sacred. It becomes the act of protecting what is meaningful from being diluted by performance. Social media has altered our relationship with experience. It has taught us to prioritize the version of the moment that looks best, to value how things appear over how they feel. It has blurred the line between sharing and performing, between being present and being consumed. And the more we learn to see ourselves through the eyes of others, the more we forget how to live for ourselves. But those who remain silent online seem to resist this shift. They choose to observe without displaying. They think without broadcasting. They experience without announcing. And that resistance, subtle as it may be, tells us something about the kind of presence they value. Psychologists have studied this pattern. They've found that people who post less frequently tend to show higher levels of introspection and self-control. They are less affected by social comparison. They are more attuned to their inner world than the outer one. They are not seeking approval as much as understanding. They are not performing identity. They are exploring it privately. And that internal focus, while quiet, is often stronger than what is seen on the surface. In a world that teaches us to express constantly, restraint is a kind of rebellion. Every post we make is more than just a communication. It is a construction, a crafted message designed to fit an image, a silent question asking for validation. Do you like me now? Do you believe this is who I am? So when someone chooses not to post, they are opting out of this exchange. They are refusing the cycle. They are returning to something unfiltered, something real. The result is a shift in how life is lived. Instead of thinking in captions, you begin thinking in sensations again. Instead of seeing a moment as something to record, you begin feeling it as something to hold. You stop planning what to say about your day and begin noticing how your day actually feels. This return to presence is not loud. It does not announce itself. But it changes everything. Not all silence is peaceful. Some people pull back from social media, not because they feel whole, but because they feel worn out. There's a subtle exhaustion that comes from constantly thinking about how you appear. Even when you're not trying to impress, the awareness remains. The knowledge that someone might be watching, judging, or misunderstanding hangs in the background. Psychologists describe this as self-presentational pressure. It is the feeling that you must maintain a version of yourself at all times, even when you are not consciously performing. That kind of pressure builds slowly. One day, sharing feels effortless. You post a picture, write a caption, and move on. But over time, the process becomes loaded. You wonder if your words sound right, if your photo is flattering enough, if your opinion is too bold or not bold enough. And with each doubt, a small part of your voice retreats. Eventually, the weight of constant self-awareness becomes too heavy to carry. And so, some people disappear quietly from the feed. No announcement, no reason given, just silence. But that silence holds meaning. It reflects a desire to reclaim space, to draw a line between what is shared and what is sacred. Because when everything is visible, nothing feels protected. And when every experience is open to reaction, it starts to lose its depth. That is the paradox of social media. It offers connection, but often erodes intimacy. It promises expression, but demands performance. There is a psychological concept called psychological ownership. It refers to the deep feeling that something belongs to you. An idea, a memory, a moment. But when you share that moment, even in the gentlest way, it becomes something else. It enters a public space. It becomes available for others to interpret, comment on, and evaluate. And with that shift, the moment no longer feels entirely yours. Even well-intentioned responses can distort its meaning. That is why some people choose not to share. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they want to keep what matters intact. They are protecting the integrity of their experiences. They are guarding their emotions from being turned into content. They are not disconnected. They are deeply engaged. They are simply choosing a form of presence that does not rely on visibility. This choice is not easy. In a culture where silence is often misinterpreted, it can feel isolating. People may assume you are cold, distant, or uninterested. But often, the opposite is true. Those who are quiet online are the ones who feel most intensely. They absorb more, they notice more, they process more, and they need more space to do so. They are not avoiding connection. They are refusing to flatten it into something consumable. They want relationships built on presence, not performance. They want conversations that unfold in real time, not reactions delivered in comment sections. They want their joy to be felt, not validated. Their pain to be witnessed, not liked. Their lives to be lived, not displayed. So they step back, they unplug. They stop narrating their lives and start living them again. And in that stillness, something begins to heal. The need for approval fades. The noise quiets. And what remains is real. Choosing not to post can feel like a loss at first. You might feel invisible, like your life is unfolding without witnesses. You might wonder if your memories matter less because no one sees them. After all, so much of modern life is built around visibility. We are taught that being seen means being valued. That what is not shared might as well not exist. But over time, this belief begins to unravel. You begin to notice how presence changes when it is not shaped for display. You sit with your emotions longer. You let moments pass through you instead of framing them for others. You learn to listen to yourself without interruption. There is a depth to this kind of living. It is slower, quieter, and often lonelier. But it is also more honest. You are no longer editing yourself in real time. You are no longer wondering how your life will look through a screen. You are simply there. This return to yourself can feel like a kind of recovery. From the constant rush of updates, from the pressure to be interesting, from the silent competition for attention. Because when you stop playing that game, you begin to notice how tired you were, how much of your energy went toward managing impressions, and how little was left and actually feeling. People often talk about authenticity, but authenticity requires space. It requires time away from the gaze of others. It is not something that can be performed. It cannot be proven through captions or confirmed through feedback. It is something you return to when the noise fades. And the noise only fades when you stop feeding it. There is something radical about living without needing to show it. You begin to cook for the pleasure of taste, not for the photograph. You begin to write for clarity, not for reaction. You begin to rest without announcing it. You begin to be without asking for permission. And in that space, identity begins to stabilize. You are no longer seeking yourself through the eyes of others. You are finding yourself in your own voice, your own pace, your own rhythm. There is a kind of safety in that. Not the safety of hiding, but the safety of grounding. You are not running from connection. You are building it differently. More slowly, more quietly, more deeply. The relationships that survive this shift are the ones that matter most. They are not sustained by updates. They are not maintained through visibility. They are built in conversations, in presence, in memory. The people who check on you without reminders. The ones who remember your voice, even when you stop posting. These connections are heavier, warmer, more enduring. And as time passes, you realize something important. You were never meant to be content. You were never meant to be a brand. You were always meant to be a person. Complex, imperfect, private, and deeply alive. There is a quiet kind of freedom in not being watched. In a world where so much is shaped for others to see, it feels rare to experience something just for yourself. You laugh without thinking about how it sounds. You cry without worrying who might see. You succeed without needing applause. You struggle without having to explain. And somewhere in that stillness, you realize that being unseen is not the same as being alone. Real confidence is not built on visibility. It is built on consistency. It is the knowledge that who you are remains the same whether or not anyone is paying attention. It is knowing that your feelings are valid even when unspoken. That your memories are real even without photos. That your value does not rise and fall with attention. This awareness brings you back to yourself. You stop measuring moments by how they might look to others. You begin to feel them for what they are. There is no need to explain, no pressure to frame, no impulse to prove. You just live. Some people may not understand this choice. They may ask why you stopped posting, why you disappeared, what changed. But the truth is simple. You began to prioritize presence over performance. You stopped trying to be remembered and started trying to remember. You chose to stay connected to what is real instead of what is visible. And that is not withdrawal. It is a return. A return to slowness, to depth, to focus. You no longer filter your life through how it appears. You no longer divide your attention between what you feel and how it might be received. You are there, whole, unedited, and in that wholeness you find peace. Not the kind that requires explanation or validation, but the kind that exists quietly beneath the surface. It is the sound of your own thoughts, no longer drowned by noise. It is the rhythm of your own breath, steady and unnoticed. It is the grounding knowledge that you do not need to be seen to matter. You do not need to share everything to make it real. You do not need to perform joy for it to be felt. You do not need an audience to exist fully, because the most meaningful moments often happen in silence, in private, unwitnessed, and yet they shape you more deeply than anything ever posted. The people who stop posting understand this. They carry this truth, not in words, but in how they live. They are not less alive. They are not fading. They are simply living differently, more slowly, more fully, more freely. And in their quiet, they remind us of something we often forget, that being human is not a performance. It is a presence. And presence does not need to be proven, only lived.